Picture this for a second. You check your phone before bed, half asleep, and refresh the lottery numbers just for fun. You never win anything. Nobody does. Except tonight, the numbers match. All of them. $600 million. Your hands are shaking, your heart is racing, and then you do something almost nobody expects. You put the phone down, turn off the light, and go to sleep like nothing happened. The next morning, you go to work. You laugh at the same jokes. You still stress about a parking ticket. You still say, maybe next month, when a coworker invites you to a fancy dinner. Nobody knows. Not your family, not your closest friend, not even the person you trust the most in the world. Why would anyone do this? And more importantly, what does this thought experiment actually teach us about money? Stick with me, because this isn't really about the lottery. It's about something far more valuable than $600 million. Let's start with the mistake most people make. Most people believe that money fixes everything, that if their bank account suddenly exploded overnight, their anxiety would vanish, their relationships would improve, their bad habits would disappear, and life would finally feel easy. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Money doesn't fix you. It reveals you. If you're careless with a small amount of money, a large amount of money usually just means bigger, faster mistakes. If you're anxious about spending $10, that anxiety doesn't disappear with 10 million. It just shows up wearing a nicer outfit. This is why so many sudden wealth stories end in disaster. Studies on lottery winners consistently show a shocking number end up with the same financial stress within a few years, sometimes worse than before they won. Not because the money vanished on its own, but because nothing about their thinking changed. So now, let's return to our story. You have $600 million, and you're telling nobody. Here's the psychological reason this actually makes sense. The moment other people know you're wealthy, you stop making decisions. You start making performances. Think about it. If your family knew, certain conversations would suddenly feel different. If your friends knew, certain invitations would suddenly feel obligatory. If your coworkers knew, your daily behavior would suddenly feel watched. Humans are wired for something called social mirroring. We unconsciously shape our choices based on how we think others are perceiving us. It's the same reason people buy cars they can't afford to impress neighbors they don't even like. Wealth, once known, invites judgment, and judgment quietly steals your ability to think clearly. By staying silent, you protect your mind from that noise. You get to keep making decisions the same way a chess player thinks several moves ahead, calm, unemotional, and strategic. Now, let's talk about what actually happens with the money. Imagine $600 million as a massive tank of water, and your life as a set of channels that water can flow into. Most people, the moment they get access to a huge amount of money, open every channel at once. New house, new car, new everything. It feels incredible in the beginning, but an open tank with no direction eventually empties, no matter how full it started. The smarter version of you, the one who told no one, does something different. You direct the flow with intention. A portion goes into something called an emergency foundation. This is money set aside so deep and so untouched that financial fear simply stops existing in your daily life. A portion goes into assets that grow without your effort. This includes things like index funds, rental properties, or dividend-paying investments. These are essentially machines that continue producing income whether you're working, resting, or traveling. A portion goes into lifestyle, but with a filter. Ask yourself if you're upgrading your comfort or upgrading your image. A watch that keeps time perfectly fine does not need to be replaced with a diamond-encrusted version just because people might notice it. And finally, a portion goes into freedom. This means using money to buy back your time. Time to leave a job that drains you. Time to invest in relationships. Time to build something that matters to you personally, not something that impresses a crowd. Here's the deeper insight hiding underneath this entire thought experiment. The lottery win was never actually the important part of the story. The important part is the system, protecting your mindset from outside pressure, directing money with purpose instead of emotion, building assets that continue working long after the excitement fades. And here's the part that should genuinely excite you. You don't need $600 million to start using this exact system. You need the mindset first, because the mindset is what determines whether money grows or disappears, regardless of how much you start with. This explains why some people slowly turn modest incomes into real wealth over time, while others receive massive windfalls and somehow end up back at zero. The amount of money was never the deciding factor. The thinking behind the money always was. So here's the question worth sitting with. If $600 million landed in your hands tomorrow, would your current habits protect it or slowly leak it away? If that question makes you pause, that's a good sign. That's exactly where real financial growth begins. If this kind of thinking clicked for you, this is exactly what we explore every single week here at Asset Avenue Club, breaking down money, psychology, and wealth building in ways that actually make sense for real life. So before you scroll away, hit subscribe, because the next video might completely change how you see money.